How many students passed? How many sales above 50,000? How many times did laptop appear in the list? Instead of counting manually, Excel can do this in 5 seconds using COUNTIF. Here we take a look at the COUNTIF function, its structure, and how to use it in various applications. We'll also look at the common problems faced when using the COUNTIF function. So let's get started. The basic syntax of the COUNTIF statement is COUNTIF, and then you need to give two parameters, range and the criteria. Range tells it where to check and criteria is what to count. So let's say I want to count how many students scored 40 in computers. So I'll say is equal to COUNTIF. I'll give the range where I want to check, and then I'll give the criteria, which is 40. So it says 2. So there are 2 students who got 40 in computers. Now let's say in this list I want to check how many times laptop appears. So I'll say COUNTIF. I'll give the range and I'll say laptop. So laptop appears 2 times. Now in the examples that we looked, we gave simple criteria, but you can use more logical operators for more effective search. So let's say here instead of 40, I look for marks greater than 40. So when you are using logical operators, you need to give in quotes. So in COUNTIF, I gave the range, which is all the marks of computers, and within that I'm looking for marks greater than 40. It tells me 5. So the total count is, you see here 10. The total count is 10. So these numbers are greater than 40. I'll remove the colors. You can also change the criteria to look for, let's say, less than 50. It returns 5. So these are the numbers less than 50. So there are 5 of them. Again, I'll remove the colors. You can also use COUNTIF to count the number of students who got marks greater than or equal to 40 and less than 60. Here's how you do that. You first count the students who have got greater than or equal to 40, and from this number you subtract the number of students who have got marks. I'll remove the equal to here. I'll keep only greater than 60. So this will give me the count of students who have got marks between 40 and 60. And this will also include students who got 40. So you see, only these 2 students satisfy the criteria. Rest all the numbers are either less than 40 or greater than 60. Say if I change this 35 into 55, it should increase the count by 1. You see, it increased the count by 1. So only these 3 numbers satisfy the criteria. So in this case, we had to check for 2 different conditions, and that's why we use COUNTIF minus COUNTIF. There's also the COUNTIFS function in Excel, in which you can check for 2 conditions. I've covered that in a separate video. I hope you have noticed that when I give the operators, I place them in between quotes. This is where many beginners make mistake. So give the operators in quotes. We'll take a look at few more examples. So in the earlier example, we looked for how many times laptop appeared in the list. Now instead of hard coding laptop, we can also reference the cell. So in the criteria, I can just select this cell So it will read laptop from that cell. When I enter, it should still give me the same result. So what I did was I removed the hard coding. Instead of hard coding laptop here, I'm referencing the cell. Let's take a look at another example using cell reference. So let's say I want to find sales which are greater than 7,000. I'll place the 7,000 here, and let's say 7,000 is the target. So I'll use COUNTIF. I'll give the range. I'll say greater than, and now I will concatenate this cell. So I'll say ampersand E2, which is the cell in which 7,000 is there. It returns 3. So there are 3 numbers which are greater than 7,000. I'll remove the colors. You can also use wildcards in your criteria. So let's say I want to count the names that start with J. So what I'll do is I'll give COUNTIF. I'll select the range, and then I'll say J, and I'll give star. So it returns count as 3. The name John appears 3 times, and there are no other names which start with J. So this is how you can give wildcard in search. You can also use question mark to look for single character. So let's say I want to check how many names are there which have 5 characters. 1 question mark equals 1 character. So I have given question mark 5 times. So it will look for matching names with 5 characters. I'll say enter. It returns 3. So in this case, Sarah has 5 characters and it appears 3 times. If I remove the H from here, you see the count reduced to 2. I'll remove the colors. So there are several real life practical scenarios where you can use COUNTIF. You can use it in attendance sheet, exam marks, sales report, inventory stocks, employee department list. You can count sales or orders above a particular number. You can count products starting with PRO or any other characters, and so on. Next, we'll look at common mistakes that most beginners encounter when using the COUNTIF function. First one is forgetting double quotes. So in the criteria, when you give a logical operator such as greater or equal to, then you need to place that thing in quotes, that condition in quotes. If you don't do that, it will give an error. So place quotes. Same applies when you are searching for some text. So in this case, you're looking for laptop. So if you don't give quotes, it will return 0. Excel is not able to do a match because laptop is text. So place it in quotes. Use quotes for text and it will work fine. You should also make sure that the numbers are not stored as text. So here, if I place 40 in quotes, you'll see the count reduced by 1. Excel needs numbers in the number format, not in text format. So make sure the numbers are not stored as text. I'll do Ctrl Z. COUNTIF is also not case sensitive. So it means when you are searching for a text, such as laptop in this case, it does not matter if that L is uppercase or lowercase, it will still search for it. I'll use a smaller case L. You see it still returns 2. And when it's an uppercase L, it still returns 2. So when you are using COUNTIF, the case does not matter, it is case insensitive. So there are three count related functions in Excel: count, COUNTIF and COUNTIFS. Count only counts numbers. With COUNTIF, you can count based on one condition. There's also COUNTIFS, which counts based on multiple conditions. I've covered that in a separate video. So that's all in this video. Here's a small practice challenge for you. Count students who have scored above 75 in computers. Count the names starting with S. Count sales less than 5,000. That's all in this video. Do subscribe to the channel for more Excel tutorials. Thanks for watching.